here. When I heard I got to be on with Rod this morning, I was like, oh yeah, I got to be here for this.
Yeah, listen, Rod, his trip was supposed to end last night. I was like, bro, one, you can't drive back after that. Let me do the intro. We'll do that.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Ready?
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, what up, though, people? As you can see, we're a little sluggish this morning. It looks like Rod actually got that coffee this time. It's your boy, DetroitKoolAid, rocking with Mr. Jeff Iafrady.
Hey, I am Jeff Iafrady. It is very nice to be here in my Jeffish ways.
No, let me get real here. You know, I got the restoration shirt on and everything. And, you know, it just brings to mind everything that we're trying to do here with Woodward Pistons, with Woodward Sports. This is Mr. Sean Murphy from Half Court. He covers NBA, Pistons, basketball, anything, everything. He's really this kind of glue guy for our Pistons coverage team here and for our NBA coverage team as well. And I couldn't be happier to have him in studio with us. Jeff will be joining us. And as always, since he can't be here, we need someone to major the drum roll.
Oh, I got this. I got this. Yeah.
All right, let's
Absolutely.
do it.
All right. We ready?
Let's go.
All right.
Hey, welcoming into the show, the legend, Detroit News, Rod Beard. Hey, you give me some sound effects. This is the sound effect king. Rod, have you had a chance? To check out?
I haven't showed Rod my wild
man.
side. I haven't showed him my wild side too much yet.
Yeah, listen, this guy here with the sound effects, man, next level stuff here. I call him Blanco Mason. You guys will get it. Listen, he's going to be calling all of our summer league games and all that we're going to be doing. But listen, how are you guys feeling about this number 5 pick? I just want to jump right into it.
Yeah.
Well, let me just say, it's not like last year where it was you stayed up half the night trying to write and trying to figure out what the number 1 pick meant for the Pistons and whether there was anybody else besides Cade that you would be looking at. Mm-hmm. This one is just sort of you put all of your faith in Troy Weaver and say he's going to make the right pick and figure it out. It's not this very difficult puzzle that you got to figure out. I mean, it's you got some teams ahead of the Pistons that could make some wild card sort of picks too. So I think he's ready for it. And I think I said it last night too, that it is very much he's the guy that you want making this pick because of his experience and his talent evaluation. And he's going through all of the different variations of what this could look like. And that's the guy that you want making that pick.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, on top of that, too, you just have to look at, first of all, I mean, let's just get the obvious out of the way. Is 5 where we wanted to land? No. But Keegan Murray, Shaedon Sharpe, Jaden Ivey, the guys that are going to be available at number 5 are not necessarily consolation prizes either. This isn't really a draft class. And Troy Weaver made his opinions clear afterwards in the press conference, just talking about how he doesn't think this is just only a 3-guy class. He thinks this is pretty deep. So, you know, in my opinion, I mean, you know, to still get in the top 5 is still a good place to be. Like Rod said, this is what Troy Weaver was brought here to do, was to make selections like these. And in the past, you know, like obviously you look at where we were drafting in the order and you go, oh, well, how are we going to get that talent to bring us to the next level? But if Troy Weaver makes the most of these picks,
talk to him, Sean.
We can really get a guy that can come in and play alongside Cade and help this team win some basketball games going forward. So even though we might not get one of those top big men that we've been talking about and salivating about for a little while, I don't have to disagree with Rod on Chet Holmgren anymore because it doesn't matter to me anymore.
That's over.
He ain't falling to 5.
So you mean to tell me that this draft worked out just so we can have peace and harmony on the show?
Yeah. It's
you
just,
know, I'll take 5 for that. I'll take the number 5 pick for that. I guess.
It kept peace. I mean, now it's going to be the argument of, you know, obviously we're going to be debating certain guys like, you know, Keegan Murray, Shaedon Sharpe, Jaden Ivey.
No. Peace treaty broken.
It was a good run. It could never last. But Rod, I am kind of curious what your thoughts are. What are your thoughts on Shaedon Sharpe? I know obviously he really didn't play much last year, so as far as like tape goes, we really only have like AAU and high school stuff. But what have you heard about Sharpe, and do you like him as a prospect at all? Do you think Pistons should target him at 5?
Yeah, I'm more of a Keegan Murray guy where you show me something that is there that I can believe in. It's not
Right.
a potential draft where you're rebuilding. You're trying to just get a guy that to assemble some talent. You need somebody who can produce and to step in the lineup and be able to give you something from day one. So I'm not as high on Shaedon Sharpe. I'm a show me, don't tell me what he is. And so that's the precarious position here is that with the Kings picking at 4, they're probably going Jaden Ivey, probably, but they are the Kings. The Kings are going Kings.
We're going to get there.
I mean, if they decide that Shaedon Sharpe has the more upside, more power to him. But again, I think it's I think you go Murray if Ivy is off the board because again, I need to see something and understand what I'm getting more so than projecting that out for a couple of years.
Yeah, definitely. And when Jeff gets here, that's when we definitely gonna get into a little bit more of. Speak of Jeff.
When Jeff eventually.
There he is walking through. He'll get here soon. But what I wanted to do as well, I wanted to make sure we started off by getting right into, hey, we got number 5. Let's take that Band-Aid off. Let's see how people are doing. But I also want to talk about how we got here. Not necessarily the Pistons, but us. Last night, we had an extravaganza, I like to call it.
Yeah.
We had all of the different people that you could want as a part of Pistons coverage in this draft lottery show. Hey, we had the Regal out, the legends like Terry Foster, like Rod Beard. We had your Woodward Pistons coverage team like Sean Murphy, Jeff Firefrady, and we had myself there, obviously. We had who else?
Oh, we had Easy, we had Stick, we had Kuka Hill, Bryce from Motor City Hoops was on as well. We had Sean from Detroit Bad Boys. So it was just really just anyone you can think of, downtown Deuce, just all sorts of people. So it was a great time. Shout out to everyone that tuned in. The numbers, I mean, everyone, it went great. So
yeah, it was awesome. It was awesome. If you haven't had an opportunity to watch it, it is on the Woodward Sports channel. If you get a chance, go by there, check it out. It was awesome. I know Rod Beard was on there. He always does. He does not give me an easy time. He made sure to but you gotta go check it out. I'm not gonna spoil it. You gotta go check it out. But hey, Rod, did you have a good time last night?
No, I absolutely always. And it's good to be on with Terry because Terry has that old school old man wisdom of just he doesn't pass the sniff test.
Kept his balance.
That Chet Holmgren doesn't pass the sniff test. So what are we doing here? What are we talking about? and by the way, stay off my lawn too.
Yeah. I was gonna say, look, we always got to get caught up. We always do. Generally we'll start with some funny stuff, maybe getting caught up, man. Because at the end of the day, man, we're just bros.
Oh, 100%.
But I knew we had to get right into that number 5 pick. But
we
Rod,
just got to get the elephant in the room out there. Yeah.
But Rod, what's good, man? What's good? Look, I've been looking at some gas grills. I'm serious. I'm gonna get something, and when I do, I'm gonna need you.
Do it. Let's go.
Shah, you gonna be there too?
Oh
right?
yeah, absolutely. This man's still going out there with charcoal. Oh my gosh, brother, come on, man.
Listen, have you ever lit up a gas grill though? I legitimately have only done it one time.
I mean, we had a gas grill at home, so I've seen my dad do it. I've seen. I get it. It could be intimidating, but don't worry, you were gonna get there.
I'm only asking those around me because I want to make sure that I have the right crowd when I do this.
Oh yeah.
But I feel like as I'm looking at you guys' faces, that I have the absolute wrong crowd to do this. There's gonna be a no phone policy, no live, no any of that.
Oh, Rod, you and I will be there. We'll be judging. We'll be looking over his every move.
What do you mean? What do you mean we'll be judging? I'm currently judging him.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, man. Oh man.
No. So Brandon, seriously, just pick the cheesecake store that we're going to.
Yeah.
Put the grill right there in the parking lot, and let's just go.
Let's just go.
There you go, man.
You know what? We're gonna do it. We're gonna have some fun with it too, man. We're gonna definitely have some fun with it. But all right, I gotta ask you guys this. I said we were gonna get into it. I want to hold some of the prospect talk until Jeff gets in here. I know he wants to be a part of that. He asked to be a part of that. But
when Jeff eventually gets in there,
when he decides to show up,
whenever Jeff gets here,
Jeff Iafrady,
he's not
big
next
diva,
door at all.
Yeah, big diva energy always runs on his time, always.
Oh man, But this is the important question here, and I need you guys to put this in the comments too. Who
hey,
is
look
going?
who decided to grace us with his presence.
Listen, Rod. Forgive me, Rod. Disrespect the legend like that. Sorry, I had to go handle something. I had to do a couple things for social media, but I'm here now.
Yeah, he's all over the place, man.
Yeah,
it's been a whirlwind. It's been a marathon for everybody. Yeah. Podcast, streams, the show this morning, a lot of different things. But you're right on time for this question.
Okay.
Listen, we got to know, before we get into any prospect talk, I know you wanted to be here for that, who is going to Darko this draft and cause somebody to fall to the Pistons that shouldn't? Who's going to Darko this and give us our Dwayne Wade?
Listen, this will be easy. I'm going to say the Sacramento Kings. I mean, that's an easy answer. I feel the Kings. The Kings are going to Kings. Yeah. The Kings are. Listen, and you've seen the mock drafts coming out already. Shaedon Sharpe being mocked to the Kings. I could see a situation where the Kings do something just where you scratch your head, and then someone's going to fall into the Pistons' lap. So, and there's obviously the Houston Rockets. You can make an argument, but I just feel like the Kings are going to be the team. That's going to be the team right there.
I just can't believe that they had the gumption to bring Domantas Sabonis out as their representative to showcase the terrible trade that they made to the NBA world right in front of everybody. But guys, Sacramento,
Kings, a world-class organization.
Yeah, world-class. They make some pretty bad decisions. But hey, you know who else makes some pretty terrible decisions? The Orlando Magic. I mean, here's the thing, though. You would think, though, they're going to be the number one overall pick, so they're gonna have their pick of the litter. They might get it wrong. I mean, hey, if they might be the team to get Chet, and then they might screw that up because of a generational talent and how good he is, right, Rod?
Right. Bro, you got to chime in. Who is going to Darko this draft?
See, the obvious answer is the Kings. But I think Sean has it right. It is the Magic who are going to say, Chet is that dude. We got 99 centers already. We need a power forward. Chet is going to be that guy. I mean, there you go. And Chet is going to be that guy. And I wouldn't be surprised if Orlando tries to trade out of that pick. I don't know what they would be looking for because they've got everything else. They between the big men and Wagner and their guards, they seem to have everything. But if they could talk themselves into, hey, we need a shooting guard. Let's get down to 4 where we can get Ivy and try to get some more stuff out of the Kings of all people.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the Kings could convince themselves that they need another big man and they could trade up. And I don't know what they've got that they'd be willing to shed for it. But, yeah, I mean, I could see from their center position, is Alex Len or Rashawn Holmes solving a problem for them? Probably not. They could convince themselves they need a big man, and they could say, hey, let's get up to 1 and try to do something with it.
You know, and that's interesting. What does it take to get up to number 1 or to get into this top 3? And does Detroit have that firepower or those assets to get there?
I mean, I'm sure that if they believed in a guy and they had a specific guy on their list that they wanted to go get, I'm sure if need be, they could go and do it. But at the same time, the sense I get, and I know I've heard people like James Edwards say this before. I know I've heard, people allude. I almost feel like this is the kind of pick that Troy Weaver wanted. Maybe even two. Maybe he wants to have that opportunity to be able to say, hey, I found the best guy at number 5. You know what I mean? So in my opinion, I just, and even asked last night, are you confident with who you would take today at number 5 if you had to pick, and he said, yes, I am. So, it's one of those things that if you're comfortable with that pick and with who you'd select, I mean, obviously anything can happen if you're presented with some trade packages. It's hard, might be hard to say no, but it's not like we're in a bad position.
Nah, not at all. I mean, so then, Rod, I wanted to get your take on this.
No, and here's the thing: the question was about whether if the draft was today, would the Pistons know what they wanted to pick? Troy would be all for having a draft today because it means the Kings have less time to think about it, and all the other teams ahead of them have less.
It might actually be good for them to have more time to think about it, Rod. They can they can sniff Sharpies and run around the room and do all the stuff they want to do.
Yeah.
No, but to the point, I don't think the Pistons are even look. The only guy that I think they would trade up for would be Jabari Smith. I don't think they value Paolo or Chet to that degree that they would feel like they needed to trade up to get him. And what assets are you giving up in order to do that? They're trying to stockpile more. So unless you could get them to, well, I mean, you did get Sacramento to believe in Trey Lyles and Josh Jackson. So I mean, I don't know. You could give them some magic beans and the number 5 pick, and you might be able to get something else out of them. I don't know.
See, listen, I asked the question because watching the footage, watching the games, Jabari Smith is starting to really, really, really get a hook in me the same way that Cade Cunningham did. The same way that we all sat up last year saying, yo, if there's any way we can get this number 1 pick, and I know it meant more then because we didn't have that guy. Cade Cunningham, now we have him, and we can sit here and say, it's okay if we drop. But when I look at what Jabari Smith brings to the table, I'm almost sitting here starting to believe he's somebody worth trying to see what you can do to get up there to grab him. Now, I know that we might not have to go that far if Orlando and the Sacramento do what we hope they do. But I feel like if he's sitting there at 3, I'm hoping that the Pistons take like a hard look at whatever they need to do to get him. His 3-point shooting, his defensive ability, his ability to be able to score on minimal dribbles. Like those types of things to me, with his length, with his size, is anybody feeling me?
Oh, but Jabari?
I mean, in terms of we got to go get him. Like, I feel like we have to get that guy.
Yes, absolutely.
Here's your problem, though. Who has the number 3 pick?
Yeah, true.
You think they're helping you to do anything?
Hell no.
Not at all.
So then they would have to jump. It would have to be.
I feel like a situation you'd have to pray that somebody falls to Sacramento and Sacramento wants a guard and they're willing to be like, all right, here, this is how it's going to go, and everything just kind of falls into your lap. But yeah, I agree with Rod. I mean, Houston ain't going to do nothing. Oklahoma City's taking a big, and then Orlando's taking a big. So there's 3 guys right off the board right there. You know what I mean? So
I don't know. I don't know, man. When I think about this thing in a vacuum of Cade Cunningham and Jabari Smith, I know that Troy Weaver is the guy we're going to trust, and whoever he picks, we're going to trust that. Whatever he does, we're going to trust that. Just from we're just sitting around with the bros talking. I just think that duo right there, how we talk about, Tatum and Brown, I think that duo would be dynamite, man. I don't know, when I think about that, the potential. What other duo in the East would you say 5 years from now? What duos in the East would you kind of compare that to?
Let me help you out here. If you could convince one of these big needing teams that Jeremy Grant was just as good or better in helping their rebuild along a little bit farther, there you go. And somebody who has some cap space. I mean, none of them really have cap space that you could do a lot with. But you throw that Jeremy Grant in there with the 4, and is that enough? Maybe you throw in something else, a little sweetener there somewhere down the line. Maybe. I mean, that's something
I know that's the most of it that they can do. I'm hoping that's something that's enough because we're still talking about one prospect. If we're saying this draft is still kind of top heavy, I'm hoping that a Jeremy Grant and a 4. Jabari Smith, I said it last night, that's the only player I would do something like this for, just because I believe like that would be such a dynamic duo in the Eastern Conference, especially in the Central Division.
Yeah,
especially there. I mean, somebody who can match up with a lot of the different stretch bigs that are starting to pop up all over the NBA, especially in this concentrated Central Division. You got guys like Evan Mobley. You have guys like Giannis. And down the line, the Bulls have several players like that. I'm going to continue to bang that drum until the draft. I know that the prospects of it happening are going to be slim to none. But I just believe that's the guy to go and get. That's the guy to go and get. Last year, I was more or less like, hey, if we get Jalen Green at 2 or this guy at 3 or whatever, cool. But you got to see the shirt, right? It's about restoration. It's not necessarily about continuing to rebuild. I'm ready to see these guys, and I've continued to say it, win. Ashton has said it. We have said it. Next year, we're not trying to celebrate the NBA draft lottery.
Oh, yeah.
Not at all. Not at all. But any other thoughts on Jabari? Smith.
I just think, first of all, I think all of those teams at the top, for one, with Jeremy, with trading him to trade up, I think the big thing, he would have to agree, either there have to be some sort of conversation with that team about what long term, because no team's going to just trade for, unless for the salary cap space, but I have a hard time seeing a team wanting to trade for Jeremy and then just seeing him walk when giving up one of those top picks. Sure, you still get the 5, but yeah, again, so as far as trading up, I just think, again, there's just a lot of things that would have to happen. And the question is, does Troy Weaver like Jabari Smith Jr. that much more than a Keegan Murray, than whoever's available there? But
I'm not Troy. So.
Right. But because the thing is that guys like Keegan, they still bring a lot. And so, again, we don't know how they're going to match up comparatively in the league. You imagine you can have some answers, but yeah.
Jeff, I want the home run hit.
Let me throw one more at you.
Mm-hmm.
Who does Troy Weaver have on speed dial? Probably.
Sam Presti?
Sam Presti, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah, and they have how many first round picks over the next few years? 18 over the next 3 years alone. Yeah, Sam Presti, he could never have enough first round picks. That's definitely a team that's always looking to tango.
So you'd have to convince them that you could give them another big to make it work for them, because you think about Poku and their roster, that they definitely need more bigs, or even a 3 like a Jeremy. They're not in a position where they could take Jeremy in, but you could do a 3-team something where they just get more assets, and they got 99 first-round picks over the next couple of years anyway. all they need is more assets. So you could say give them 5 and some other stuff, and a third team takes Jeremy, and then you get that number 2 pick. They're selling hope. They're not ready to win in the next 2 or 3 years anyway. There's a possibility there. It's probably a small possibility, but I would argue there's a possibility there that you could swing a 3-teamer and get that number 2 pick, and maybe not have to give up the farm to do it.
And we've seen Troy Weaver be able to be involved in things like this. I've continued to say when that Marvin Bagley deal went down and Jeremy Grant was not involved in it, and we said, hey, we get to also trade him again, or not again, but we get another opportunity to have a trade where he's one of the things that we can put up. Hey, this is what we have, and this is our price. Right. That was awesome, man. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that if there's an opportunity that Troy Weaver jumps on it, I believe that Jabari Smith would definitely fast track what we have. And I'm hoping that Jeremy Grant plus number 5 could be attractive to one of these teams that are talking about rebuilding. Like Rod, you touched on it. Look at what Jeremy Grant has meant for the Pistons rebuild. No matter what you think of the fit with Cade today, he brought something different to this team when we saw Blake Griffin here. Hey, what's good? Hey, we got Nick Leach in here, man. Hey, Nick, come say what up real quick.
We got the devil. I get to meet Nick Leach in person on the pod. Look at that, man. What up, baby? What up? Good to see you, man.
Hey, listen, he's gonna get my golf game right. Hey, you gotta say something to the camera, man.
How you feeling about the lottery, Nick?
I was sleeping. I was passed out. I drank so much over the last 2 days.
He says he was heavily libated.
I saw we got the 5th pick
and checked out.
I went to bed. I was
Like deuces.
You need to post a video for that. It wasn't.
Man, good to see you, bro.
Okay,
Thank you.
Oh yeah,
Yes, sir.
And that you already brought up Jeremy, and I kind of want to echo that because I know I asked Rod this yesterday. Obviously, you want the Pistons to be competitive. You want them to start winning. Does trading Jeremy away kind of take you 2 steps back? I get it. You don't want to. You're going to have to eventually extend them. But let's say you do take a guard. You take Jaden Ivey. You take Shaedon Sharp. What if they do keep Jeremy Grant? You go out. You possibly pay a DeAndre, and that's kind of where I'm most curious to see where they do in free agency.
That's
because,
not bad. That's not a bad look.
Do they?
Well, hold on. Here's the thing. Another thing. Even Rod. He said on the stream, ask me when we know where we're picking.
Yeah.
What's going to happen with Jeremy Grant? I don't want to stop you. I realize that. Rod, we know where the Pistons are picking. What do you think's happening with Jeremy Grant?
Well, I think this complicates it now that it would have been easier if they had gotten in the top 3 that you could say, hey, we're going with a young guy. We're going in a different direction. We'll get some more assets. Yeah. But I think you can stay with Jeremy now. Again, you'll listen to offers because there aren't a lot of free agents out there. So you're looking at guys toward the end of their contract, and Jeremy's one of those guys. And you don't want to cast him off to OKC. So that's why I think you would need to get a third team involved that would just with some draft picks that would shoot those to OKC, and you send Jeremy somewhere where he wants to go. You certainly want to do right by him. Yeah. But I think they look longer and harder at just holding on to Jeremy and saying he's going to be an asset. Let's figure out a way that we can just add somebody who could help. And again, I think that ends up being Jaden Ivey if he's there, or Keegan Murray, and then you just figure it out after that.
Definitely. And so with the Pistons dropping, we've talked about it before. We knew that was going to increase the likelihood of Jeremy Grant being able to, or being a Piston. At least for next year. Long term, we've talked about it before. I do believe he'd be a good fit. I think that the players look up to him. Not I think. We know that they do. Rod, you've spoken to it as well. I believe he's a good fit for this team. Obviously, if you get a chance to bring in a Jabari Smith, Jeff has brought me over to the light.
Welcome.
Yeah, definitely.
Welcome.
Jeremy Grant, thank you. I hope Portland is nice.
Rob, these guys are in denial, bro. Like, I'm sorry. These guys are doing everything they can, gymnastics wise, in their heads to still get Jabari Smith Jr. on their basketball team. I feel bad.
Until it's not a thing, I'm gonna think it. I have to. Don't take my dream from me. Don't take it,
Sean. You gotta let them live there for a little bit.
I'm like, man, am I the only Pistons fan that's used to disappointment? I mean, this is what I do.
Hey, look. I know that Killian Hayes has not worked out the way that we have wanted him to, but when we dropped the 7, everyone said, "Oh no, we're gonna miss out on Killian Hayes," and then teams Darko did in front of us, and we wound up. One of those things was the Kings, I think. And we wound up. They didn't. It wasn't the Kings. They picked after us.
Yep,
it was a couple. Yeah, they didn't Darko anything that draft. They just wound
until
up
they trading
him. Yeah, which is weird. But yeah, we wound up still getting him. And and Troy said we're going to get the guy that we want. We're going to do our homework, all the same stuff. We're confident. Blah blah blah. Then we were just like, well, we hope. Now he's saying the same stuff, and that's why I'm going to hold on to this hope. Before we knew that we were going to get the number 1 pick last year, we said it. We're going to hold on to this hope that we can get it. We're going to be okay with whoever we get, but we knew that Cade wasn't a safe pick. He was the right pick. I believe that Jabari is the right pick if we can get it. I'm going to keep dreaming.
All right, you keep setting yourself up for failure, my friend.
I'm drinking the KoolAid. Hey, no, I wanted Killian. We got Killian. I wanted Sekou.
That's how that works. You just get whoever you want. That's how the NBA draft is.
Well,
with Troy Weaver, he gets who he wants, and I do believe that. I do believe.
All right.
We're ODing on hopium, Rod. We're ODing on hopium.
I am.
Let me ask you this. Would you rather have Evan Mobley or Jabari Smith?
Oh, Evan Mobley.
Evan Mobley.
So if the Pistons didn't do that last year, why would they reach this time to get Jabari?
Thank you.
If they were going to reach, they would have reached last year to get Mobley because Mobley's clearly a better player at this stage than Jabari is. So if you didn't reach then, why are you going to reach now?
Especially when Troy Weaver even said it's not all about going and getting length and athleticism. Teams like the Bull, teams like the Trailblazers are great.
Troy says things and then he does other things, though.
He does.
I'm not going to go with that. I hear him say things all the time, sitting through these press conferences. I'm telling you, he says things and then he does other things that are more Troy-esque. And that's why I'm saying I believe that Jabari Smith, look, before we knew where we were going to fall, everybody said Jabari Smith is a Troy Weaver player. That's different. And we can sit here and say his job is to create the best team possible, not to just put together a good team. I'm telling you, look.
But again, though, I just think there's just no, in my opinion, if you're asking me the percentage, we walk out with Jabari Smith Jr.
We're going to talk about the percentage, then we're not talking about that, man. Hey, look, my name is DetroitKoolAid. I'm talking about what's best for the Pistons and what's best for my dream.
I mean, absolutely, that is the best. But also, again, not to be the devil's advocate, you might be the Detroit KoolAid. I'm the Detroit Pepto-Bismol. I'm trying to make sure things come down easy for you guys, and it's
easy. This is just a hypothetical, just to bounce it around, just to talk about what it looks like what it might take, because would anybody be shocked if it came down, pick number 2, a trade is in. Tell me that you would not believe Troy has something to do with it, even before you know the team. Every Pistons fan would be sitting there, if Jabari Smith is on the board at 2 or 3, sitting there like, I wonder if it's Troy. And if it came in Pistons, who would be shocked?
Nobody.
So we got to talk the hypothetical. We got to talk it. We got to talk it. That's the only reason why I'm saying it, because Jabari Smith to me is that guy, and we all have that guy, and we're going to go to bat for that guy. There's people who want Jeremy Grant traded. They're going to go to bat for that. There's some who want him here. They're going to go to bat for that. There's some who want Ivy. There's some who want Chet. You're going to go to bat. You're going to go to bat for that type of stuff.
Actually, I gave up on the Chet reality because I accepted what happened in the lottery.
And if he's sitting at 3 or 4, you're sitting here telling me if he failed, you're sitting here telling me you're not going to go. He's so transformative. But hey, just let somebody else get him, Troy. Just go. No, you're going to hypothetically be like, yo, this is a possibility. Yeah. If you're saying that you were on the Chet Hopium train, you can't tell me if he's sitting at 3 or 4. You just be like, Troy, the percentages is just let it go.
Rod, thank you. Rod, thank you. I'm like trying to pull up my therapist number and my Rolodex over here.
Listen, y'all.
I'm just kidding.
So here's the problem, Brandon. This is just like your charcoal grill. You can't turn down the temperature when you need to. You would have to pour water on it. I'm just pouring water on this whole situation for you.
Yeah.
The problem is that even if they were trading with OKC has the number 2 pick. You can't make a pre-draft trade to trade to number 2 because you don't know if Orlando's going to pick them at 1. Mm-hmm. So even if something happened, if you see Orlando pick somebody else and you see OKC pick Jabari, then it's let's go. Let's do it. Let's talk about it and what all of that stuff could look like. And that's what I think, if you're on that Jabari train, that's what you're hoping for, is that Orlando picks somebody else, OKC goes Jabari, and then Troy is on the phone, just like the meme, and he's got 2 phones like this with Sam Presti, and they're trying to figure something out. I think that's when the wheels start moving in that direction. But to talk about it at all beforehand is just a fool's errand, because we just don't know what that's going to look like until we know.
All right, I got the water. I just had to dream a little bit. We had to flesh it out. We had to see the possibilities.
You can dream. Let's save it for the right time. Let's save it for when that number 1 pick comes down. Then you'll see all of the wheels turning and everybody's going crazy, because
as soon as it gets to 3, if Jabari is still on the board, I believe every Pistons fan is going to say at least, hey, because we saw the comments. Why were people disappointed with number 5? So if you have a chance to get one of those 3 guys, I mean, it's a little bit of spoiled, but I think people can taste that we're on the cusp of something. Mm-hmm. We want talent, but we want that guy as well. Why can't we have Brown and Tatum?
But you're right. But again,
seriously, I don't want just a guy. I want a guy who's going to come in and be Jabari Smith, and that's why I'm going to dream it. But I get it.
Right. But again, what we've said about the draft class, and what we're going to keep saying about the draft class as we keep going forward, this class in particular is deep. It's not just a three guy class. You know, the 3 best. There is a top 3. There are 3 players at the top that are the best of this class. However, this is definitely a class of all the classes we've seen in the past few years that the best player very much can be in play at number 5. So that's just my opinion.
And I guess that's where everybody's gonna shade. You know, I know Jeff is gonna have who he believes is gonna be the best. You, Rod, myself, and so when we look at that, I do believe that Jabari is just a cut above every other draft pick in this draft. And Rod, we've talked about it from day one of the pod. I believe that Jabari is transformative player. I believe Chet and Paolo can be those guys, but I believe today, if I had to go and put money on it today, I believe Jabari is that guy. I'll stake that. I have no problem with that. And so, with the draft, just to put it out there, I believe this is a deep draft. We've talked about that. I believe that this is a draft with talent, but I want more than talent. I don't want another,
hey, Rod, can you get the water out again? The charcoal girl's burning up really bad.
No, we're getting in. We're getting in. What I'm saying is this.
Those flare-ups.
I mean, for real, we've seen those picks though, man. We've lived through decades of those types of picks, and I'm going to trust Troy Weaver. I'm going to believe in Troy Weaver. That's not what we're saying. until the draft comes, we get to have these types of conversations. So I have the conversations. You know what I'm saying?
Right, exactly.
But at number five, that's where I wanted to go. We wanted to save that until Jeff got in here. Who is the player? Now, Rod, I know you've mentioned Keegan Murray. I know you've mentioned Jaden Ivey. And another name that you brought up that the commenters actually loved was Jalen Duren as well. You mentioned him in the previous podcast. I want to get you first, and then Sean, and then Jeff. Who should we then? If we're gonna douse, if we're putting the water on KoolAid, right? If we're putting the water on the Jabari Smith, do whatever we gotta do to get him. Who is that guy at number 5 that's gonna come in and make more than just a role player impact, but be somebody that we said can be potentially a Robin next to Cade? Is there that guy, or is it a guy that's just gonna come in and potentially be a role player or a good fit?
I think it's Jaden Ivey if you can get there. And I would feel infinitely better if they had gotten to 4 instead of 5. Because at 4, the worst you're going to do is Jaden Ivey if you didn't get one of those 3. Now you got all these wild cards in front of you, and the Kings can do Kings things, or they could do something completely different. So I think that Ivey can be that guy. But you got to look at what the other options are. That Murray, I'd feel comfortable with that. And if Duren is the guy, you might be able to trade down that Ben Math or Duren could be your guy, but you could trade down a couple of picks. I don't think the Pistons are trading down unless they're getting some good assets back.
Right. And as it relates to Jaden Ivey, looking into him more and more and more, I know early on, and still a lot of people compare him to Ja Morant. They are not the same player.
No,
they're not the same player. And Jaden Ivey, he has about an inch taller, about 20 to 25 more pounds. And I believe that he's a little bit more durable. He's going to be able to be a little bit more durable than Ja Morant. And their playing styles are just a little bit different. Sean, have you looked at, had a chance to look at Jaden Ivey?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
What does he remind you of, man?
Yeah,
break down this game for us.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, there are moves and there are things that Jaden Ivey does that look reminiscent of Ja Morant. However, my biggest question with him, I mean, everything that we see in Purdue, I mean, system wise, a lot of what he did was a lot of the offenses ran through him. I'm just wondering what his off the ball skills and things would look like, because with Cade in that system, he's going to be running the point primarily.
That's a good point.
And that would be my biggest concern. And my question is Keegan Murray going to be available at 5? Because I almost wonder with Sacramento, they've taken so many guards over the course of years that they might be looking to try and possibly do something different.
Is that your number 5?
Yeah, I mean, if Keegan Murray's available, he does just seem all around like the best fit. And I don't even know if a role player is like the word that's like right for him. I know the comparison that's kind of been thrown around is like a Tobias Harris, and like I know we kind of go like we all wince when we hear Tobias Harris, but that's a good starter that can come in and play quality minutes for a long time, and we don't know what Keegan Murray's ceiling is.
So we got Ivy from Rod, we got Keegan Murray. Jeff.
Who I'd want at 5, or just who's going to be in that ballpark? Because I'll say who I want at 5. I mean, I don't think he'll be there, but
yeah, I mean, say who you want at 5, and we can discuss who you think will be in that ballpark as well.
I would love, obviously, another ball handler next to Cade. I think that's going to be beneficial for his development and what he can do. Because listen, I mean, if you look in the starting lineup, yes, Corey Joseph's there; he's a placeholder. But Jaden Ivey or Shaedon Sharpe, I mean, those two guys are what I'm looking at. And I like Keegan Murray. I just think, this, and I've always brought up the scenario, if you do fall past 3, I'm kind of guard. I'm fully bought in. Like, I want to guard just because of who's available. So I like Jalen Duren. I like Keegan Murray. I just think the upside of Jaden Ivey and the upside of a guy like Shaedon Sharpe, it's too damn good to pass up. And that's, again, we've talked about this. Who do you see in the backcourt with Cade? I mean, you have 2 big guards who can handle the ball and make plays and play off ball. I mean, Jaden Ivey, obviously, there's question marks, but again, I mean, I'm leaning towards both of the guards. So I wouldn't mind if it was Jaden Ivey. I wouldn't mind if Shaedon Sharpe fell right into our lap and we took him. So that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Yeah, and with Jaden Ivey, just with all the Detroit ties he has too, right? His mom played for the Shock.
Hey, shout out Pistons talk for that.
Yep, his grandfather played for the Lions as well. So shout out Pistons. So as far as
it's the culture.
Yeah. I mean, and not that factors in, but it's a cool coincidence. But yeah, I mean, if Ivey's available, it's hard to pass up on him because, like you said, his upside, he definitely can cause a lot of damage.
You'd have a dynamic backcourt on rookie contracts. Like that's That's value right there. Like that's
so you telling me that the that dynamic rookie backcourt on a rookie contract, you telling me that will make me feel a little bit better about us not getting Jabari Smith?
Oh well, no. I'm trust me. I'm not getting over
know.
that.
Thank you.
There's still gonna be sleepless nights, but
I'm so mad at these guys. Rock and Sean at the same time, we're like, oh boy.
No, I echo it. That's why I haven't been saying anything. I'm just like, Brandon, you speak for me because I love Jabari Smith, man.
I do.
Rod,
you guys are making me feel better about this, though. This is my therapy session for us falling to 5, really, if you haven't noticed. So I appreciate it. We had to have Sean in here for this. And Rod, thank you. Thank you. You guys are trying to keep me cool. I got the water here. It's pH water, too, at that.
I was going to say, Rod, you and I generally see eye to eye, and on this one, I'm glad we're in unity on this because.
But see, here's the thing with a gas grill, you got a flare up. You just turn the knob a little bit and just move it around.
With charcoal, can just get all over the place when the wind blows.
You're all over the place. You got a water bottle. You punching holes in it to try to shake it to even it out. It's like I'm gonna let Brandon go and do what he's gonna do. And I mean, if it's a flare up, just turn it down.
Just turn it down a little bit. But look, I've always said this though from the beginning. I know we talk about Jabari Smith. We'll joke about it. We'll talk about it. I will dream about it. And I did this with Devin Booker too. I'm still Devin Booker. Come home, bro.
Yeah.
As soon as you can.
That's my guy.
I'll do that. Devin Booker, Jabari Smith, guys. That's my all dream team for the Pistons. Mm-hmm. It is. But we Pistons talk. Anthony, shout out to him, man. He put us on Jaden Ivey early. He kept saying, "Hey, listen, that's a guy to listen. That's a guy to listen out for. That's a guy to look out for." And then Keegan Murray. That's another dude that early on we were saying, you know what? If we dropped, and we said it on our table talks, you know what? Hey, Cade, go out there and mess up the draft positioning. He did that, going almost 500 games with him in the second half of the season that he played in. And it kind of hurt us a little bit. I believe we dropped. I know that they say we all have the same percentage to drop or to stay, but I don't know, man. I'm excited about the prospects of what these picks can bring. I am. I'm not going to hate on the picks. I don't think that Jaden Ivey or even a Keegan Murray are going to be guys that are just fit players. I think that that's a little bit disrespectful to Cade Cunningham. I believe that these guys do have to fit next to Cade Cunningham, but the skills and the talents that they bring to the table, think about the players that Cade was throwing to last year. Think about the players Killian Hayes was throwing the ball to the years prior. And think about if it's Jaden Ivey. Think about now if it's Keegan Murray. Think about if that's also with a Jeremy Grant, a Sadiq Bey, and anybody else that Troy Weaver is deeming, hey, this guy fits the culture of this team.
Right.
And that's the number one thing to remember is that this draft, and we're going to continue to say it, is all about Troy Weaver and Cade Cunningham. When you fall off that top 3, that's what it becomes. It becomes, how do these guys fit next to Cade? How do they make it easier for him? How do they enhance his game? And how can he enhance their games? And the number one thing for me, we talk about all the strengths and the weaknesses of these players. When you have a Cade Cunningham, all you have to talk about with Jaden Ivey, with Keegan Murray, or with whoever we can get are their strengths. I hear people talk about even Jalen Duren and some of his weaknesses, and I'm saying what I see here is if you keep this gentleman contained, within pick and roll situations, within lob threats, within all the things we said, if Drummond would just do these things, he would be somewhat worth that contract. That's what I'm stating. And Cade already has that leadership. He's a connector. Rod, you've talked about it a lot. He's a leader on this team. He came in right away. It's why they picked him. And so I'm okay. I'm okay with it. I am. I might not look like it. I am okay with it though.
Can I
Keegan, Jaden Ivey. Those are my picks at 5.
Did we just go through all 5 stages of grief in the past 2 minutes? Like we were just at denial, we just got to acceptance that quickly?
I think so. You guys are good for me. You all are good for me, for real. You guys are, man. Jeff, how you feeling down there?
Let me say something else too. If you look at who has to really be pissed, look at what Houston ended up these last 2 drafts. Tank City. And you dropped last year from 1 to 2. And then you drop 2 spots this year. If Pistons people want to talk about how pissed they are that it didn't work out for them, Houston was in position to the worst they could have done was drop a couple of spots. They dropped to 3 this year.
Yeah.
So as much as they've been through it, their losing situation that they've been through and trying to assemble all this talent, and they should have been better this year, and they end up with the 3 pick. Yeah. Houston fans should be pissed about where they are right now.
Man. And look, I'm gonna start to close here. I want to just talk about some of these notable fives. I'm just gonna list them here. Number 5 overall draft picks. We'll start at least with the last 10. Jalen Suggs to the Orlando Magic, Isaac Okoro, Darius Garland, Trae Young, De'Aaron Fox, Chris Dunn. Are you guys feeling confident?
Dwayne Wade?
Yeah, Dwayne Wade. That's why we need somebody to Darko. This Sacramento Kings. We love you guys, man. Do this for us. Time is right.
You don't even have to ask. They're on it. Don't worry.
Alex Lynn, Ricky Rubio, Kevin Love, Jeff Green. Look, the further back we go, the better it gets, man. Raymond Felton, Devin Harris, Dwayne Wade, Jason Richardson, Mike Miller. It's some guys. Vince Carter. So
I mean, even pretty close. It was pretty darn good too. You had guys like Trae Young that helped to bring their team to a conference finals. You had guys like De'Aaron Fox that, say what you will about what he's been so far as an NBA player, has talent and at least shows that, you know, there's guys there that have been picked at that slot.
I was gonna say, back to what you all have been saying. There's talent there. Hey, Piston fans, I saw you guys in the comments. I think that energy got to me today, but you hear the room, you hear the crew. It's talent there, and you have Troy Weaver, man. Just believe. Just believe. And Jeff, I wanted to bring you back into the conversation, too. Man, as we close, we will get into our rundown just to get a little bit of NBA playoff talk, you know, because we got to represent, because we have, from half court, our NBA representation in the building. But how you feeling, man, as we bring this thing to a close?
Oh, I feel good. I mean, one thing that we have that only you can argue one team because he was mentored by them, but the other 4 teams don't have is we have Troy Weaver. I mean, I'm confident out of all the 4 teams in front of us, besides obviously Sam Presti, I know that who's ever there, he's going to be able to evaluate them. And you just went through the historically, you know, number 5 overall picks. What about picks that were after number 5 that could have went 5? I mean, that teams overlooked or didn't take. What about guys that went 7, 8, 9, 10? So that's the thing I don't worry about Troy Weaver. He's going to find those diamonds in the rough no matter who they take. If they take Jalen Duren, Keegan Murray, Jaden Ivey, Shaden Sharp, I'm on board. So
if we're a franchise and an organization who historically every year, and we saw it in the comments, everybody say, oh, we got screwed, the NBA's rigged, they do this to us all the time, right? That's what you saw in the comments. That's what we're hearing from fans.
Yeah.
That's a little bit of energy I came in with today. But isn't this why you hire a Troy Weaver then? If you're an organization that keeps saying this, do something about it. And honestly, shout out to Tom Gores. He has stepped back as an owner. He's gotten over this kind of bumpy start, and he's letting the basketball guys do what basketball guys do. And this organization knows, hey, listen, if we're plagued with this, if we're cursed with always falling in the draft, never getting a number 1 pick, blah, 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 let's go and get somebody who this doesn't matter. You know, we fell in his first draft, right?
Right.
And then he did exactly like he said. I'm going to read his quote. He said, there is no disappointment where we are picking. We're confident because the last 2 drafts, we've had 3 players make all rookie, and 2 of those players were picked bottom 15 in the first round.
And that's what you have to look at. It's not disappointment to where you're selecting because, guys, you had Donovan Mitchell. You've had Devin Booker. You didn't take him. I mean, it's all about who's selecting. So having a guy like Troy Weaver that can make those decisions and you could, you know, stand behind him confidently does wonders for your franchise. So it's never about where you're picking; it's who's selecting. I've always believed
exactly.
That.
Yep.
What about you, Rod?
No, I think that's exactly it. You can't worry about where you end up. And are you disappointed you didn't get to number 1? Well, I mean, you got it last year, and I tweeted that last night too. I don't want to hear one person complain about, well, the Pistons always get jobbed in this. You just got the number 1 pick last year. You just got.
It worked out,
and we had to wait 50 years before that. Yeah, exactly. I think we can wait more than one.
Yeah, and bro,
to go without getting the number 1 pick. Just a thought. I think we can wait more than 1 year.
We can wait.
Yeah, I think we can wait.
Woosah, right? We can learn to be patient. And Rod, it's not just that we got the number 1 pick, guys. We can be like happy. It was a celebration because we got the pick right. We've seen people mess up the number 1 pick. Cade Cunningham is not even just a good guy who proved to be the best pick of that draft. He's proven to be somebody that outsiders are saying, out of that draft class, he has the potential to be the future MVP.
Right.
That's
big.
That is big. That is huge, man. That is huge. What I want to do now is kind of highlight our From Half Court NBA coverage team here at Woodward Sports. Usually we do a chase down where we talk about, what, NBA teams and NBA players other than the Pistons, are interesting to us. But, hey, lead off, man.
Yeah. Absolutely. You want me to bring a little From Half Court energy?
Do it. Do it, brother.
What is going on? I want to welcome you From Half Court with my guys. First of all, Rob Beer, Brandon KoolAid, but also my guy, Jeff. Hi, Frady.
Let's do it.
First of all, we got the Boston Celtics and the Miami Heat. It started last night. Jimmy Butler went and had some beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, chicken, turkey. He was feasting. He got whatever he wanted.
Hey, I'm not trying to throw strays, but Chet Holmgren in that game last night would have been limping. That was the most physical game. That watching Miami versus Boston, that game. I mean,
current Chet would have blown like a gust in the wind in that game. I understand. I agree
Williams
with that.
and Bam Adebayo, collisions into each other left and right. It was awesome.
Oh my gosh! No, carry it on.
Yeah, absolutely. And with that, Boston, Rod, I'm not sure who you have as your favorite right now. It's hard for me not to see the Boston Celtics as the favorite going into the finals. I mean, just how good they are. I wonder if that's just a hangover game from that really grueling Milwaukee series that they just got out of.
And they were missing a couple people too.
And also this Jason Tatum guy can play some pretty good basketball, it turns out. So I have a lot of faith in him. And if they go on to win the championship individually, that might be one of the, and we've seen some really good playoff runs of late.
Yeah.
But so far, Jason Tatum's putting together a pretty impressive resume, sweeping Kevin Durant, beating Giannis Antetokounmpo, then having to go off against Jimmy Butler and the Miami Heat, and then whoever they'd have to face in the finals. So far, so good.
Yeah, it's a superstar playoff run. This is what molds you into a superstar.
Yeah, 100%.
No, I think we talked about it previously that we were talking about guys that you just like to see when they're in their bag and they're playing well. And Jason Tatum is that dude. I mean, when he's making shots,
silky smooth.
He's incredible. He can get in the lane. He can finish over you. He can hit from three. So it's people talk about Luka and Trey Young and even Steph to a certain degree, and KD is another one of my guys that when they're in their bag, it's just crazy, and you just want to sit back and watch.
Oh yeah,
but Jason Tatum, same way, because defensively he can bring that, and just offensively, just the right size, the right height to be able to get through a maneuver and do things. If they're able to win it, and again, this is what Miami couldn't. This is what Milwaukee couldn't bring in that Celtics series, was the physicality and really make them feel it. Yeah. And so now Boston's having to deal with that with Jimmy, with Miami, and they can be rough and rugged defensively and give them a lot of problems. So it's going to be a tough series to go either way. But even though Boston was winning part of that game, that they can do that, and they've shown they can do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you look on the Western Conference side, you're looking at a Golden State-Dallas matchup that I would argue a lot of people very quickly dismissed, just like the last round with Dallas Mavericks, and wrote them off and said Golden State, Steph Curry, and Klay Thompson are going to be ones that are going to bring this home.
Party.
However, there is a man named Luka Doncic, but in addition, head coach Jason Kidd and everything that they've been doing on the defensive end. Guys, I would argue the Warriors right now are in a world of trouble. Because if they can't defend the perimeter and actually stop the shooting barrage from the Dallas Mavericks, they're going to have some fits.
Look, man, I could say the same thing about Dallas to Golden State as well. I mean, they got to defend the perimeter. You got guys that are going to kill you. But I think what makes Dallas so special is they play a similar style of basketball, meaning they can go small on you. I mean, they went small against the Phoenix Suns and completely picked them apart. So that's why I'm more excited to see Dallas, because they can match up. You put Draymond at center, they could put Kleba at center. And he could, so I like the matchups. You have a dynamic player. I mean, the best player in the series, you could argue Luka. I mean, Steph Curry's obviously his resume, but right now Luka Doncic is on a whole nother level. So I can't wait for it. It's gonna be a great series.
It's gonna be a fantastic series. But I do want to go back to something here, the Eastern Conference one, because we did talk about this on our table talk. Jimmy Butler did Jimmy Butler things, man. It's weird things. It's like crazy hours in the playoffs with him. I don't get it. All year, it was just he kind of just flies under the radar. Then the playoffs hit. And it's just something different. They're just going and bludgeon teams. It's like they're just slugging people with like socks filled with rocks, man. I don't get it. I don't like. I'm sitting here looking at guys like, oh, who's that guy? I don't know him, but he just hit a cool three. Like, awesome. Like, I feel like my girl at a basketball game when I'm watching the Miami Heat play. She's like, who's that guy? And did what? I'm like, I thought he was a center. He just shot a three and then the handle. I'm just, yo, you know what? Miami's doing things. Listen, y'all, that's what I'm saying. I got to go to my NBA experts here, man. What the heck is Miami doing? Who are these guys? Other than Jimmy Butler, who was just putting in work, what is going on?
Rob, you could talk to him.
No, it's just that's their roster. It's assembled to do just what it's doing right now. And this is what the Nets wanted to do. This is what Milwaukee wanted to do, was just get to the playoffs so you can start playing for real and you can start getting your guys playing at a high level. And this is even without Duncan Robinson being Duncan Robinson. This is all of these other guys just being role players and coming in and just being solid for you. And you can say stole game one. I'll say stole game one because they were down and they were looking battered in that first half. But they were able to come back and do that. So Jimmy's being Jimmy. He's the X factor in all of this, that if he plays games like that and he gets to play the way he wants to play, you're in trouble because they have other guys who can pick up that slack for them too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's not even just that they're not even getting Duncan Robinson being Duncan Robinson. They're not even getting Duncan Robinson on the court for all intents and purposes because of the way that he's been playing. They've just been not having him in the lineup. I guess the kryptonite in Miami is once you get paid. I guess that's when it goes downhill. Right. But I mean, no. But like you said, it's Max Strus. It's all these guys who come in. They know their role. They do their job. They play for the greater good. And then on top of that, they have one of the 15, one of NBA's, from that 15 greatest coaches of all time list, Eric Spoelstra, on the bench. So
and Riley just kind of always hovering over that franchise.
And Ime Udoka, I mean, incredible job. Very, first season, heck of a challenge in an Eastern Conference Finals to have to do a chess match against Spo, 100%.
Yeah. So, well, hey, listen, guys. I'm so glad that we were able to do this. I'm so glad that we were able to get Sean in studio. I know that he was looking forward to this, Rod. As always, we appreciate your time. I wanted to be able to make this connection as well. So, Sean, did you enjoy yourself, man?
Oh, absolutely, man.
He kept me in check.
Yeah, Rod. It's always a pleasure whenever we get to chat. So when they presented with the opportunity to be in studio and come be on with you, I was like, that's got to happen.
It's a starstruck feeling with Rod, isn't it?
I'm like, for Rod, I'm there. Any day of the week and twice on Sunday, man.
Rod, you're a legend.
Yeah, man. Rod's the guy. Yeah, absolutely. So, Rod, no, I just appreciate you, man.
Hey, well, look, tune in next time. We're gonna try and keep it 100. What are the kids saying these days?
You keep it.
100. Yeah, keep it a stack. Keep it 100. Like all.
For real, no cat. Word to Rod.
Word to Rod.
That's it.